Welcome to CodingKoans, the show where mentors and apprentices pair a program to learn the secrets of software development. My name's Ian, and the show today, I have a very special guest. This is going to be my guest apprentice this time, and that guest apprentice is Lord Squirrelington. Lord Squirrelington is my landlord. He's been here at Squirrelington Manor since the very beginning. He does not know very much about code, but he does know something about old-fashioned love letters that are handwritten, which is charming. He occasionally shows up in other people's beds, which is terrifying, but also charming. Lord Squirrelington, welcome. So, Lord Squirrelington, we're going to learn today a few things about the command line. And so I'm going to help you with that. And that's cool, but I mean, Lord Squirrelington, you're an expert in a lot of other things as well. For example, writing love letters. I mean, seriously, just making everyone swoon, regardless of gender, nationality, point of origin, time and space, whether or not they're actually a corporeal, sentient form of fog. It doesn't seem to matter with you. I mean, you just got it made. And I got to say that that's great about you. Software developers need to be people from everywhere in the world. And that includes people who are skeletons, who are landlords of castles that are in Los Angeles. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if I can do that. First of all, I need to exit this full screen here. Yeah, that's looking a lot better, isn't it? Yeah, I should have been doing that all along, but you know what? You live and you learn. So, Lord Squirrelington, let's go ahead and I'm going to share my screen with you. There we go. Oh yeah, I actually have to hit the button. There we go. You see, software development isn't about knowing what you're doing. It's about figuring out how to know what you're doing. And it's a constant process. It's a voyage of discovery into the world of computers, into your own psyches, and into the thoughts and feelings of those around you, trying to connect each other together into an interleaved network of people who are digitally hugging each other, but without hurting each other. That's one thing we don't want. No evil software. Okay, so this right here is a terminal, and it's very, very small, Lord Squirrelington. Let me just put you back up in here. So the terminal is where we're going to do a lot of our work, and it's scary looking because it's just text. Actually, you know what? Let me shrink this down a bit, and I'm going to make it large. So if you use key shortcuts here, Command-Shift+, Command-Shift+, and you just keep doing that, you can actually make things pretty large, and then others can see what you're doing. I think that should make our terminal large enough so that we can see. Opinions, Lord Squirrelington? What do you think? Oh God, yeah. No, we're not going to say that on the air. But yes, so you can make things, make your screen larger or smaller, your text larger or smaller. By the way, this will still work in your browser too. You can try it, Command-Shift+. And if you want to go in the opposite direction, you actually do Command-, which is funny because you would think it would be Command-Shift-, but it's not. It's Command-. Oh, well, so much for having symmetry in your commands. Anyway. So, this is a terminal. Now, right now, what I'm looking at is my root. So, this is not that much different, by the way, Lord Squirrelington. It's not that much different than if I was to pull up a Finder window. And if I go to my desktop right here, now let's go to music. And in music, I've got media. And in media, there is Made Up Music, which is a show that we have on Outpost 13, which is coming up after mine. And in Made Up Music, I've got, you know, different songs here that I can play. Sure. Cool. So that's how you would do this with the file system. And you have to go through and click through that stuff, right? With the command line, we can actually look through here this way. You can see as I do this ls command, which basically just lists what's in there. It doesn't list everything, by the way. It hides things. So ls-a will actually show you all the other stuff that is not being shown, such as config files, cargo, atom. There's my trash folder. I didn't even realize that was there. That's cool. Z profiles for the Z shell. By the way, this is the Z shell that we're working with today. Personally, I prefer bash just because it sounds more awesome, which is the born again shell, which sounds even more awesome, but in fact the Z shell is a little bit more advanced. So, darn names. I love names. One of the best things you can do with software is actually name things well. Any case, with all that, you can see music is here. Now, if I was in this guy over here, in order to get through that, and I was where I am in the file system, which is right here, you can see from here at the top, this music file is right here with this music file. So normally I would click into that, double click, and there we are. How we would do that here is by doing CD, and we can start to type music, and then if we hit tab, we can auto-complete this. And there we have it. Enter. And now you can see at the bottom there, well, actually you really can't looking at this, or maybe you can. Let me actually double check and make sure that I can see things. And make sure that I can see what other people are seeing. Yeah, okay, cool, great. So it does work. So any case, in this music folder, if I was to type ls again, it's now going to show me this. And I have this thing called pwd, which is print working directory. And that shows me where I am in the file system. This slash right here, that's the root. That is the beginning of all of your files and all of your directories in your file system, this being a Unix file system. Windows file systems are just a little bit different, but same basic concept. Then we can see that I've named my device in not arrogant at all, calling it Excalibur. And inside of Excalibur, we have our music. And this stuff up here is things that the operating system needs. I can get into that, but it's not important right now. Just know that there's more to this than what is in your personal file system. And like things like applications, apps that your computer uses are up here, for example, other settings that you shouldn't fuss with unless you know exactly what you're doing, because you can break your system doing things like that. Okay, so you print your working directory, right? Cool. Now, and we know that we're actually inside of the music directory, and we call them directories rather than folders. I know that this looks like a folder, and we sort of use that analogy, but when we're working with the command line, we like to think of it more like a telephone system. So we don't really think of it as a folder like you would if you were in an office, to sort of make this easier for someone who is an office worker. But you think of it the same way that you might a telephone system. There are directories, and those directories contain files. So inside the music, I can actually look inside of that before we go on any further, but let's ls and just see there is another folder called music, or another directory called music right underneath the music directory, which I think is obnoxious. But that's how Apple wants to do it, because I've got a Mac. If you've got a Linux machine, you might not necessarily have that. I mean, for that matter, I could just get rid of that, and it's annoying, and I might do that because I'm a software developer and I can actually tell the computer what it is going to do. It doesn't have control over me, and if something that is here that doesn't make any sense, I don't have to put up with it. I can change it. It's just a question of whether or not I'm going to put in the time to do it. Right now, not going to, because I want to show you some other things, Lord Squirrelington. So the next thing I want to show you is that you can actually ls inside of the next folder. Now this doesn't show me very much. This is just showing me what's in here, right? If I print my working directory, I haven't actually moved, but I have actually seen what's inside there. Media.localized and musiclibrary.musiclibrary. Interesting. Okay, cool. So let's just go ahead and do that. CD into music, ls. I think I want to go into music library. Now, this is an interesting little thing. The command line doesn't expect there to be spaces. So you'll notice that music library right here, there's a space in the name. That's weird. A lot of times for the Z shell, it's going to take any space and say, oh, that's a separate thing. I should evaluate that separately. But in this case, that space is part of the actual name. And so in order to make sure that that space is included, we escape out the space to say, hey, Z shell, ignore this space. It doesn't mean it's a new thing. Otherwise, it would get confused. Now, there are a couple of different ways you can do this. You can also put quotes around this. So in fact, let's just go in here for a second, and then let's cd out. By the way, if you just do ... after cd, it brings you up a layer. And there you're back. Now, if I was to do cd, let's see if it works. So I'm doing tab completion here, but now I'm going to wrap this in quotes and get rid of the escaped out character. So this is another way of saying, hey, Z shell, everything between these quotes, this is one argument for you to consider. It is not two separate things. It is one thing. By the way, this right here is called a string. And because it is a string of characters, and that is something that you should definitely learn, Lord Squirrelington, that though in writing a love letter, you might write out words in sentences, that entire love letter could be considered a single string in software. And that is a data type. You have just learned a new type of data. Congratulations. So let's see if this actually works. I don't actually know if it will. I think it will. I guess it will. My job isn't to know. My job is to find out. So let's find out. Well, look at that. It did. It worked. Okay. So yeah, you can use either one of those options. Now, you know, some of this can be bike shedding. And if it is, by bike shedding, I mean like getting too hung up on unimportant details. Just pick a direction and move in it. If it tab completes and just automatically throws in a slash there, who cares? You want to get to the same file system, right? But then again, there is also sort of the fun of exploring the different ways that you can approach the same thing, because sometimes you might need to know that you can use a string versus escaping out the space. Okay, let's let ls again. Oops. So here's an interesting thing. I accidentally put in a single quotation. And because single quotations are very much like double quotations inside of my file system, because of the fact that it did that, my file, the Z shell, thinks that I haven't completed the command yet until I finish putting that in. So I'm just going to complete it with an extra quote and see what happens. Can't find that. Can't find the new line. Great. No problem at all. I'll just simply delete that, and see what's in here. Man, there's a bunch of stuff. This is not exactly what I was expecting to see. Oh, that's why I'm moving into this thing. I need to move into this thing. I need to move into the media folder, not the music library. So let's actually get ourselves out of here. I don't know why it says media.localized. That must be some sort of a Mac thing. I'm not going to look it up right now, but kind of interesting. Oh, look! Impro pre-show, Impro show music library, made up music. And look, there are spaces in there. So if I do cd, made, capitalization matters. I think it does. Does it? What happens if it doesn't? Oh, that's weird. It doesn't matter, but the Z shell is going to show it to you as lowercase, even though it's not. That's funny. Okay, cool. So made up music is there, ls. We can look inside of the other made up music, inside of made up music, which again is obnoxious, and I should change that. And here we are using the escape characters. And here they all are. Clam Hat, Deja Vu, Final Reference, Full Moon, Ecstasy, an Interlude, Infinite Mirrors. I wonder what happens if I try and actually play one of those, Lord Squirrelington. Do you think I can play that from the command line? I've never tried to play a music file from the command line. This is going to be interesting. All right. Infinite Mirrors makes sense since we're using Zoom anyway, and that was that's a song that was sampled off of a Zoom bug. So let's see what happens. Actually, you know what? Now would be a great time to look that up. So let's go ahead and go to Google. Oh dear, that thing slammed. Anyway, so let me see my CPU usage right now. Looking pretty good. All right, cool. We're not cooking the machine just yet, but we're going to fairly soon. All right. So what I want to know is Zish play music and Mac OS. Different ways to beautify your terminal. You can control Spotify from the terminal. That's cool. I might try that sometime. Although these aren't there, we're just going to play an MP3. I'm wondering whether or not it just has it. That would be so fun if it did. Comes with an included command line audio player. You can just use play most audio files. AF play, huh? All right, well, let's see if we have AF play. So I use -- version just to see if it will give me back something to let me know whether or not it's a thing. And it looks like it basically is, although, great. See, didn't tell me what version it was. No, there it is, version 2. Great. I wonder what happens if I do that then. AF play, and then let's do infinite. Oh. You got CD into it. All right. Let's see. Well, I'm hearing something, but I'm not sure you are. Oh, I know why. I know exactly why. Hold on, I gotta add this in. And if I hit Control-C, it goes away, but I need you to hear that, and I need you to hear it, Lord Squirrelington, because you can't hear it yet. But hold on a second, I'm going to get it for you. I'm going to get it because this is a matter of OBS tech going on here. I just need to route the audio the right way. Hold on. So I go ahead and do that. You see, even just operating OBS and things like that, this is still, like, in a lot of ways, the same skills you use in software development. Just gotta switch this sound around. We're gonna use a multi-output device. And I think that should be everything we need in order to do it, but we're gonna find out in a second. Ready? Oh, by the way, here's another fun thing about OBS, or actually about the command line. You can use the up arrows to just replay. You can see all the things that you did before. So you don't have to keep typing those things in all over again. So let's see. Oh boy! I can play music from the command line, from the terminal. I don't have to bother over with the file structure over again. I don't have to worry about iTunes. I am free of that. Whoa! This is so cool. Okay.
Dark water, still sky. I feel alive. What do you see? Infinity. Blinded by me. God infinite.
By the way,
The infinite looks are giving me strife.
This is going to sound weird because of all the music going on. I'm going to kill this now. By the way, made-up music comes on after us, and to be honest, the same skills that we use for software development are the ones that they're using to create new made-up music. So you should stick around for that. So, Lord Squirrelington, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And let's close out some of these windows we got over here. So what did we learn today? Well, we learned that the command line is an interesting tool, and you shouldn't be afraid of it. That a lot of times you don't know what you're doing, and that's okay. It's your job to find out how to do it, not to be an expert. And just by poking around, you can find some really cool stuff. So that's pretty much it for today. Thank you, Lord Squirrelington, for being my guest. I hope everybody who watches the show has a great time, and I will see you next time.